My name is Benjamin Lindsay. I'm with Backstage, just for the record, but it's very nice to meet you. Thanks for making the time for all of us today. I'm sure that you're back to back.
Oh no, this is fun. This is
Yeah,
the fun stuff. I
this is
love
kind of
it.
new for you. Yeah.
It's totally new. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we'll learn together. We'll learn on the job together.
Yeah, you had me fooled based on your work in this one, to say the least. Congratulations, by the way. It's such a great feature film debut, and I'm a lifelong fan of Paul Thomas Anderson. So for you to be working with him and some of the other greats in this must have been such a treat.
It was incredible. I mean, everyone keeps talking, like asking me, like, are you pinching yourself? And I'm like, I'm not pinching myself. I'm like literally taking chunks out of my arms at this point. Like I can't pinch myself even more. I'm just so incredibly happy to be here and be able to talk about the film because it's kind of been the secret for a long time. And now I can finally talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the period of months that it was just the untitled PTA project.
I know, and then it was Soggy Bottom, and everyone was like, "What is Soggy Bottom?" And now,
yeah.
now we're at Licorice Pizza. But yeah,
it's great. It's great. Now, I guess the best place to start is just kind of the origin story of your involvement in this. Obviously, you have a working relationship with PTA for some time, with him directing some of your music videos and whatnot. But how is the seed planted for you to kind of connect in this capacity?
I mean, it's kind of a funny. I mean, I've told this story, and it's so funny that it starts at Coachella, which it seems like such a weird place to start this whole origin story. It's so weird. I'm like, really, did it have to be Coachella? But yes, it was Coachella. And Paul had helped us with our stage design and stage performance and all like the camera setups for Coachella. I also think it's hilarious that I got PTA to come to Coachella. I think that's like a really funny tidbit of my life that I got PTA to come to like the craziest music festival in the world. But I remember him turning to me, and while we were doing while we were, in the process of creating the Coachella set, and he said, "I'm gonna put you in a movie one day," kind of like that, just like, under his breath. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna put me in a movie? Like, you're not gonna put me in a movie. Who are you, crazy?"
Well, if you take him to Coachella, then he can bring you into his world.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm very much bringing you into my world. I mean, there's no way I ever thought that I would ever be in PTA's world. And then, over the next couple of months, I started hearing these, stories about pinball machines and a gas crisis and waterbeds and Gary Getzman. And I guess I just never caught what Paul was throwing out there to me. I guess I was just like oblivious to the signs. I mean, I think he's said it a bunch of times, like, when I sent you the script. I'll continue the story and then I'll tell you what Paul said, but he sent me the script when I was in London and I was, incredibly jet lagged, and I read the script and I had never read a script before. I talk about like seeing the first thing of like interior, exterior, and being like, oh my God, this is a script, guys. We're reading a script, even though no one was in the room. I was like, oh my God, talking to like my invisible friends. But I remember reading the script and it just like almost like exploded off the page. I mean, I was like, it was a page turner. I wanted to read it so many more times. And I remember after the first time I read it, I called Paul and I, gushed about it. It's a movie about the 70s in the Valley. I mean, come on, it's what I grew up wishing I was a part of. And I was just wanting to see the movie. I had no idea I was even going to be in it. I was like, I just can't wait for this movie to be made. And I guess I'll just tell Paul that I'm obsessed with it. I don't know why he sent it to me. And his side of the story is, Alana, like, of course I wanted you to be in it. Like, your name is on the script. And like, how crazy would it be if I like called you and was just like, hey, yeah, so there's a character named Alana. I don't want you to play it, but yeah, thanks for reading it. He's like, of course. I was like, but I was so oblivious. I mean, it's such a big deal to be in one of Paul's movies. I'm such a fan of his movies, and there's not one that I don't like. And when he asked, would you ever consider playing Alana, I of course jumped at the chance. I mean, like, who wouldn't? It's an incredible opportunity.
Yeah. What a fun challenge for you to tackle at this point in your career, because obviously you're so well respected in your own world, but again, for PTA to take you under his wing into his world, it's just such an exciting endeavor. I do want to get to kind of the root of your career in the performing arts in general. Backstage, our audience very much is kind of the early career working actors, the creators, the people who want to follow in the footsteps of folks like you. So I know that you went to kind of a creative conservatory type high school. Were you
Yes.
acting at that time? Is this
No, I was
no?
in the opera department actually,
Okay.
which we put on operas, which involved a little bit of acting, but nothing like there was no acting, training or anything like that. I mean, I think my introduction to the performing arts was my parents were very adamant about us going to schools that had a performing arts program, and especially a free performing arts program, because we couldn't afford to go to one that cost money. And
Hmm.
so all the schools that we went to had a performing arts program. I played the Wicked Witch of the West twice.
All right.
I don't know what that says.
Full green. Did you have a nose
I
prosthetic?
was full green. Oh yeah, green. I think each performance there were only 3 performances, and I just remember like putting a Q-tip in my ear for like weeks afterwards, and they're just still being green in there. But other than going to school and putting on very low key, I was never the lead in anything. I never got the lead. I never went for really theatrical acting parts because I didn't think I could act.
Right. So something like Alana, how do you kind of find your way in? Did you find yourself kind of like it's a character relative enough to you that it was easy, or was it a challenge to kind of sink your hooks in? What did that process look like?
It was a little mixture of both. I mean, I have always been in awe of movie making. I joke that the closest thing I really had to any movie making was being on the Universal Backlot tour. That was my favorite ride at Universal Studios. Like I could have done that as a one-woman show growing up. Like I was like, and here's King Kong. Like, oh God, now we're in King Kong. He's moving the bridge. And I've always been in awe of movie making, and I think it's funny, I always wanted to try acting because I think it's just such a fun, what a fun adventure that would be to try to do something like that. But fear always kind of held me back in the sense of like, no, like you're a musician, you can't act, and that like little green monster that lives in your brain that tells you can't do things. But until meeting Paul, I mean, Paul, when he offered me to do this movie, one of the first things I asked him was, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I have no acting experience, and I want him to succeed, because what a legacy of films he has, and I just wanted him to succeed with this project, because even reading the script, it was such a beautiful script, and I just wanted it to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, I got you, and don't worry about it, like you can do it. And to have someone say you can do it, like Paul Thomas Anderson, it really did give me a lot of confidence. But there were incredible doubts in my brain. I mean, I'm just in awe of anyone that can act. I watch movies constantly, and I bend the knee to anyone that does this as their job. I mean, I'm a musician, and I'm coming into this world very green, but I'm very grateful that the people that I worked with on this movie made me feel comfortable and made me feel like I could do it.
Yeah, and I feel like just by coincidence, the color green's coming up a lot. You're the witch, you're green in the industry, you got the little green monster in your head. But I did want to play off of that imagery for a second, because I feel like any creative person is going to have that little green monster. They're always going to have kind of the, not necessarily self-doubt, but imposter syndrome is a very real thing.
Totally.
So how have you navigated that in any creative space, in terms of just kind of having faith in yourself? Because a lot of it is taking a leap of faith when you're operating creatively.
It is so hard. Let me tell you, it is the hardest thing. I would be lying to you if I said that I was confident, even in music. I mean, every day is you ask yourself, like, how is this happening? Like, can I do this? And really, I'm very lucky that I have my siblings with me 90% of the time. That is, I mean, this is like the 10% of my life that they weren't with me. But they, starting in this business and having a wolf pack behind me that cheered me on, and we're always there for each other. And I also do think that, especially with music, I mean, I can't really speak to acting, unfortunately, because this is my only credit. But when I think about music, and I think about me and my siblings and us starting out as a band, the one thing that we promised each other was, no matter what, we're going to carve our own path. And I feel like a lot of people we're trying to, impose their opinions on, how we should dress, what songs we should play, and, oh, maybe you should do this, and, this is the right path. And me and my siblings never, took any of that advice. We wanted to make sure that if we were going to succeed in this business, it was on our terms.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to write our own music. We wanted to dress the way that we wanted to dress, like, of course. And we wanted to do it on our own terms so that when we look back on our lives, we can say, no, we did it our way. And it took a lot of strength to say no to people. And there was a lot of fear. And there were times where we would look at each other and we would say, like, did we make a mistake? And now looking back on it, I mean, the last 10 years, 3 albums, and so much touring and so much work, and I'm so proud of what we've accomplished as a family, because we did it on our own terms, and we did it together. And that's a very long-winded answer to answer your question, but that's how I feel.
No, that's perfect, and I feel like so applicable to any creative pursuit, whether it is music or acting. It's about having that support system, about knowing that you're in charge of charting your own path in that way.
Totally.
So significant. Totally. Well, as a final question for you then, I feel like I could chat with you all day, but final question. Obviously, this is your feature film debut. Such a big, splashy debut, opposite some great actors with PTA at the helm. What do you hope to do next? Do you want to get in front of the camera again? And what kind of projects would really kind of scratch that itch?
Oh, I would love to. I mean, the fact that I can even, talk about maybe doing another project is a dream. I mean, I loved it so much. It was such an incredible experience. If I get to do this again, I would be so grateful and so excited. But if this was it and it was just me and Paul and Cooper, again, like, it was the best experience of my life, and I'll think about it till the day I die. I mean, it was incredible. But I'm crossing my fingers that I get to work again, because that would be great.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt if you want to, it'll happen, to say the least. And congrats again on this. Really well deserved for just all the praise that's being piled on top of this performance and the project. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks again for your time, and stay well.
Thank you. You too. Right. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.